Do you like hoarder houses? We do too, but we just got done with the craziest hoarder house we have ever seen. We just unloaded 20 different dumpster trucks, and it was only 2,400 square feet. That's crazy.
As fix and flippers, we run into some pretty crazy stuff. We bought a house recently to do a renovation project that we thought was gonna go pretty smoothly. However, when the seller left the house, they left literally 20 dumpsters full of their garbage that we had to sift through and get rid of before we could even start the project.
And as fix and flippers, I would say that is kind of our MO, right? That is kind of how we pick up properties. This isn't new to us by picking up, hoarder houses. This just happened to be the most extreme hoarder house we have ever done still to date, which is over 200 properties. That's pretty impressive to be able to say that it was the most amount of dumpsters that we've ever emptied out of a house. And not just garbage, because that's one thing. I feel like if you saw our flippin' nightmares of our Ogden twofer, you'd be like, oh, that was nasty, and the gut was horrible, right?
Links in the description below.
Yeah. Absolutely disgusting. So it wasn't just disgusting, it was actually tangible things that people would use. The gentleman who owned this home collected hundreds of items, hundreds of the most random things that I can even imagine. I think at one point we collected over 200 Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah, and a lot of them were the same model. The same maker. There's like 5 different makes and model, but a quantity of over 200 Bluetooth speakers. It was nuts. And the same with video games and TVs and just random stuff. I mean,
magazines, newspapers. That's pretty common, I think, with most hoarder homes. But it was intense, and part of the reason why it was so intense was because they were quality things.
Our son and myself, we did go on a little treasure hunt where we found a few really cool things. We found an old vintage Nintendo Virtual Boy. Now, if you don't know what Nintendo Virtual Boy is, for those of us who grew up in the 90s, this was the coolest freaking thing ever, right? I mean, imagine Oculus today. Nintendo Virtual Boy was Oculus for the children of the 90s, right? So I got to introduce Cash to Virtual Boy, which we did bring home.
I think part of why we do what we do, I don't know about you and why you watch fix and flip TV shows, but it's what you find, right? Like it's there are so many treasures. It's really fun.
I mean, heck, I got a grand piano out of one of the houses that I did. It's sitting in my house right now and I play it every day. Fantastic 7-foot Baldwin grand piano. I just picked up off of a flip that I got. So, we find a lot of really cool things in these fix and flips that we like to keep. Now, I know that's taboo for some people. We've had people who are like, hey, that's got bad mojo or like spiritual,
We actually have a lot of
Magumbo.
friends that think that, no,
But we like decorating with older stuff in our personal home. And it's really cool when you find some of these old antiques that, we can end up keeping. So, while it was a nightmare sifting through all this stuff, we couldn't seem to ever be finished unloading all of the garbage that was in there. We did find a couple little cool treasures that we got to keep. So, silver lining. But the rest of it, we didn't want to just throw away this stuff because some of it was really good stuff. Like Maylee said, some mid-century modern furniture, some collectibles, some electronics that had value. So we did everything that we could to try to not just take this stuff to the landfill. So what do we do?
Well, we hired some people to do a yard sale because for whatever reason, Habitat Humanity just kept rescheduling on us. And time is money for us. We can't just sit there and wait. And so as much as we wanted to just give it all away to somebody, we also don't, if we're gonna pay for dumpsters and pay for that many U-Hauls, if that's the case, and we're gonna go take it to, some type of thrift store or something like that, it would cost us the same, unfortunately, to do that, or more, actually. It would cost us a lot more manpower to not just dump it, but to then try and give it away. So we tried to do a yard sale. We did it 2 weekends in a row. For whatever reason, it didn't work. There was a few things that got sold. Most people just neighbors wanted to come and walk through the nasty house because they were dying to see inside. Like that was, no, take the stuff. Like we're giving it away, legit. Like just please, just take it.
Now, they also left a car. That was interesting.
The car. The car.
Try getting rid of a car that you don't have a title to. That's really difficult.
This is not the first time we've had to do this, but I hope it's the last, is the truth. I'm so done getting rid of people's crap cars or boats or other vehicles that are just there. I really am tired of that. I'm actually going to put it in the contract from here on out that if they have a car or anything else, that's got to go before I purchase the property. That's going to happen. That's something you can learn from this video, right? Learn from our mistakes. That's why we do these flipping nightmares, is that you don't make the same dang mistakes we do.
But let's talk about this car. So this thing, they left it on the side of the house. So they parked it on the grass. It killed the grass, right? So we then had to go in and replace that with sod once we finally got rid of the car. But that process by itself was ridiculous because we had to go to the DMV and fill out a mountain of paperwork in order to, to be able to claim this car as ours that was parked on our property, just so that we could get rid of it, so that we could donate it to Cars for Kidneys. Is that what it's called? Cars for Kidneys? Kidney cars? Just so that we could donate it to kidney cars. Cars for Kidneys or kidney cars? Use whichever one is accurate. Maybe we need to Google it. Cars for Kidneys or kidney cars? That's who we donated it to. So anyway, after about a month of dealing with, paperwork and red tape just to get rid of this car, we finally were able to donate it to a good cause, which was a good thing. So it took us a good, I would say, 3-4 months just to get this house cleaned out.
That was definitely the longest process. Once we got it demoed, that was wonderful. Everything was demoed. We're 4 months out now, which we were supposed to be done in 4 months. So obviously that by itself was quite the nightmare, right? That by itself was very stressful, quite the nightmare. But then began all the problems internally of the house. Electrical nightmare. This is what this house was. That should actually be the title. Electrical nightmare. We find out that there was some type of electrical surge which has caused all this electrical problems in the first place, I think. I'm not certain, but I'm not an electrician. But there was some type of electrical surge that happened from the HVAC, the AC unit, through the entire house and seized up the motor and just like shocked the electrical in the house. So we had from the city, we had a stop work order for 4 months also. So during the entire electrical holes being pushed through all the house and all those things, we had a stop work order for 4 months until we could prove to the state, right, to prove to the city that the AC unit is fine and the electrical system is fine.
We ended up having to re-rope the entire house. And so cutting into the parts of the plaster that we didn't necessarily want to get rid of, we wanted to keep. I mean, we couldn't afford to re-sheetrock this entire house, so we needed to try to keep as much of that plaster as possible. But I think the electricians ended up putting like 400 holes in the sheetrock in order to
Every
do
wall
what they needed to do.
had at least 12 holes in it. Every wall. Because they couldn't figure out the problem, so then they had to, punch through another spot. Like, oh, still can't find the problem. Oh, let's punch through another one. So they're just taking hammers through our entire property thinking, oh, we'll find it eventually.
So once we got through all these problems, right? Once we cleaned up, we spent 4 months trying to get rid of all the junk, getting rid of the car, another 2 months with the stop work order on the air conditioning unit, and another 4 months that we spent working on the electrical because it was such a nightmare trying to re-rope this house without tearing down all the sheetrock, which we couldn't afford to do. We're already double our timeline, and we're not even halfway done yet. Now, luckily, Brock was able to pull this thing together super fast. He's a stud. He got it done. And we finished the property, I think, within like a month and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Like we took it from where it was to getting it completely done within a month and a half. He just sprinted to the finish line. However, that loss of time that we had really, really hurt us. Now, 2021 was an amazing year for real estate. If you're unaware of what went on in 2021, then you've been hiding under a rock. Real estate boomed that year. We were supposed to sell this house in 2021. Well, We didn't. We ended up listing this house, I think, the day that the market flatlined, which is the day that they raised interest rates, right? So we're actually still holding on to this house, waiting for one of those offers to come in, those coveted offers that we're waiting for, right? And it's been a little crazy.
Really, I like to say that it's not been flatline. I like to say that it's becoming healthy again. So that would be my, suggestion. It's just, it's stabilizing. It's totally fine. It's healthy. But
can it normalize after we sell this?
I know, and that was it, right? It's like, we literally listed it like May 15th. And that's exactly when right? Just
normal again.
It's normal again. Okay, it's normal to have a house listed for 60 days. What happened to 2 days? I really liked the 2-day thing. That was really nice.
We are still holding on to this house. We're waiting for an offer to come in. Now, it's beautiful. You guys are going to have to watch the before and after. And by then, really hoping we have it sold. But you guys are going to get a chance to see the entire process, everything we've talked about, all the nightmares that happened. Hopefully this will have a happy ending that we can share with you in the before and after. But make sure you're subscribed and ring that bell so that you're notified when we drop that episode. Also, we'd love to hear what you guys think about this nightmare that we shared with you today. So if you would have done anything different, or if you have any ideas or feedback for us, please put it in the comments below. If you don't have any ideas or feedback, just put your favorite emoji in the comments. We'd love to, hear what you're feeling, see what you're thinking.
So if you would like to know more about what if we don't sell it, right? That's probably the biggest nightmare of all as a flipper or an investor in general. What if we can't sell it at the price that we thought we were going to sell it a year and a half ago? That's horrifying. It's terrifying. This is where everyone is, as an investor, it's like, oh, investing's so scary. You're going to lose your shorts, blah, blah, blah. You hear it every day. I hear it for sure every day, right? Investing is scary. It is if you're not educated. So we would like to also share with you how and what we do. What if it doesn't sell? What do we do?
Check out this Flippin' education video that we made. Links in the description below, where we talk about backup strategies on every one of these fix and flips that we do. Now, it's as simple as be sure you put on your parachute before you jump out of the plane. Make sure that you have backup strategies in place before you go and do a fix and flip, because sometimes it doesn't work out the way you planned. In fact, a lot of times it doesn't work out the way you planned. That's the point of this entire series of Flippin' Nightmares, is that things often don't turn out how you plan. So you've got to have contingency plans in place. We have contingency plans on this property. We will execute them if we have to, but for now, we're hoping it sells. Now, if you want to know more about how to do what we do, make sure you join us on our weekly call. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we host an educational call. This is for new investors, aspiring investors, experienced investors alike. We have guest speakers, we do property walkthroughs, we talk strategy and education, and all around real estate investor shenanigans. You don't want to miss it. Links in the description below. Also, check out our podcast, Flippin' with Mitch and Maley, on any of your favorite podcast platforms. Links are also in the description below. I think you guys are starting to get the point with this. The links are in the description, right? So go down there and clickety-clack, take yourself to whatever amazing content you want to. But most importantly, subscribe, ring that bell, and if you're so inclined, it would help us out so very much if you would give this video a like as a sacrifice to the Google algorithm gods. Cut that part out. Just give the video a like.
We love you. Thanks for your support.
We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Flippin' Nightmares. Until next time, we'll see you on the flip side.